The wind was cold that morning, but the small alien girl stood at the old stone bridge like she always did. Her thin arms hung by her sides, her silver hair fell over her face, and her bright purple eyes kept looking at the sky. She looked tired, hungry, and lost, yet she stayed in the same spot every single day. Travelers passed her, hunters ignored her, and villagers whispered stories about her. Some said she was strange. Some said she was cursed. And some said she was waiting for someone who would never return. But the girl never moved. She stood there from sunrise until sunset, always looking in the same direction, as if she was searching for a face that had been missing for years. Her name was Lyra, but no one knew that. No one ever asked. She spoke very little and ate even less. Many times, children tried to talk to her, but she only whispered the same words. I am waiting. They will come. People did not understand who she meant. They did not understand why she waited. They only knew she had been doing this for years. One day, a human traveler named Evan walked down the same road. He was tall, with a strong backpack and tired eyes. He had been traveling for weeks, searching for a quiet place to rest. When he reached the old stone bridge, he stopped. Something felt wrong. The wind changed direction, and the trees around him seemed too quiet. That was when he noticed Hertha, small girl standing alone at the edge of the bridge, staring at the sky with a strange mix of hope and fear. Evan watched her for a moment, unsure if she was lost. She did not seem to hear his footsteps. She did not even notice the heavy wind pushing her light clothes. He stepped closer and said, "Hey, are you okay?" The girl did not turn her head. She only blinked and whispered, "I'm waiting." "For who?" Evan asked gently. She shook her head slowly. "My parents. They will come for me. They promised." Evan felt something cold in his chest. Her voice sounded so small, so fragile, as if she had been repeating that sentence for years. He looked around. There was no one nearby, no footprints, no signs of family. The road behind her was empty, and the forest ahead looked dark and unfriendly. "How long have you been waiting here?" he asked. Her eyes did not move from the sky. Since that day, she whispered. Evan felt a chill. Something about her answer felt wrong, too vague, too painful. He stepped beside her and followed her gaze, but he saw nothing except empty sky. "You should eat something," he said, taking a small bread roll from his pack. But she did not take it. "They will bring food," she said. Evan frowned. "When will they come?" "Soon," she replied, though her face looked like she no longer believed her own words. Sudden sound echoed from the forest, a sharp crack of a branch. Lyra flinched, stepping back quickly. Evan turned toward the trees, but he saw nothing. Still, he felt eyes watching them. The air felt heavy. "What was that?" he asked. "The shadows," Lyra whispered. "They come when the sun moves. They don't like me here, but I have to wait." Evan looked at her closely. Her face held fear, but also deep determination. It was not normal for a child to stand alone in a dangerous place, especially when darkness was coming. "Why do you stay here if it's dangerous?" Evan asked. She swallowed hard. "Because this is where they told me to wait. If I leave, they won't find me." Evan felt something break inside him. The girl was holding onto hope so tightly that she could not see the danger around her. He wanted to help her, but he did not know how. The wind grew stronger. Clouds moved in fast, covering the sky. A cold shiver ran through him. Something was wrong with this place, very wrong. He looked at Lyra and said softly, "I'll stay with you for a little while, just until it gets dark." Her eyes moved for the first time. She looked at him with surprise, almost fear. "No one ever stayed," she whispered. "Well, I'm here now," he replied, as the sun began to set. The forest behind them grew darker, and strange shapes moved between the trees. Evan could feel them watching. Lyra held her breath. The first night was coming, and Evan realized that staying with her might have been the most dangerous choice of his life. Evan returned the next morning with heavy thoughts in his mind. He had barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the strange shadows from the forest and the frightened look on the girl's face. Something about this place felt wrong, but something about leaving her felt even worse. So he walked back to the old stone bridge before the sun even rose. He expected the bridge to be empty, but when he arrived, the girl was already there standing in the same spot as yesterday, staring at the same empty sky. She had not slept. "Lyra," he called softly. She turned her head just a little this time. It was the first sign that she trusted him, even if only a little. Her purple eyes looked tired, like she had cried sometime during the night. "I brought food again," Evan said. "Real food. Fresh bread. Water, too." She blinked slowly. "I cannot eat," she whispered. "You can't, or you won't?" Evan asked. "I have to wait," she said. "If I eat food from others, then they will think I left them." "Left who?" "My parents." There it was, again the same painful word. Evan took a slow breath. "Lyra, how long ago did they leave you here?" She looked down at her feet as if she was counting years in her mind. "A long time," she whispered. "When I was smaller," Evan looked at her carefully. She could not be more than 12 or 13 now. If she had been waiting since she was a small child, that meant she had been standing at this bridge for many, many years. And yet, she looked healthy enough to survive. How? Who was helping her? He decided to ask gently. "Did someone take care of you before? Anyone at all?" Lyra shook her head. "No one. Only them. Only my parents. They told me to wait at this place, and they would return." Evan looked around. The bridge was old. The path was quiet. The forest looked heavier today, as if it remembered the same story she did. "What happened that day?" he asked softly. Lyra closed her eyes, and for a moment she did not speak. Then, in a small voice, she said, "There was fire, and noise, and a bright flash in the sky. I remember my father lifting me, my mother crying. They put me here and told me to stay. Then they ran back. Then everything became dark." A heavy silence fell between them. Evan understood. She had been left here during some kind of attack, something powerful enough to force her parents to make a desperate choice. But if they survived, why had they never come back? Before he could ask more, the wind shifted sharply. Lyra stiffened. Her eyes turned toward the forest. "They are watching again," she whispered. Evan followed her gaze, but saw nothing except shadows between the trees. "Who is watching?" he asked. She shivered. "The ones who came that day, the ones who took everything." Her voice broke at the last word. Evan stepped closer, protective now. "What do they want?" he asked. "They want me," she whispered. "They always come when I get scared. But I do not leave. I stay. Because if I leave the place, my parents will never find me." Evan felt his chest tighten. She had been living all these years in fear, surrounded by unseen monsters, yet her hope kept her rooted in one place. That hope was strong but also dangerous. He tried again carefully. "Lyra, what if your parents want you to be safe?" She shook her head quickly, almost desperately. "No, they said to wait here. They promised they would return. I promised I would stay." Evan kneeled down beside her. "You were younger then. You didn't understand danger." Her hands trembled. "But they did," she whispered. "They understood the danger. And still, they left me here." A single tear rolled down her cheek. Evan's heart broke. He wanted to reach out, to comfort her, but something in her posture made him pause. She was fragile not only in body, but in soul. Too much pain would break her. Suddenly, a loud echo came from the forest like something heavy stepping on dry wood. Lyra jumped. Evan stood up fast. This time, he saw it. A dark shape moved behind the trees, large, slow, and watching. "Get behind me." "Ugh." He whispered. Lyra obeyed, stepping close to him for the first time. Evan could hear her shaking breaths. The shadow did not attack. It only stared, then slid back into the trees like smoke, disappearing into darkness. "What was that?" Evan whispered. Lyra replied with a trembling voice, "The reason they left me here." Evan looked at her, shocked. "You mean, your parents left you here because something is hunting you?" She nodded slowly. "They hid me here so the hunters would not find me. If I leave the spot, they will smell my trail." Evan felt a chill colder than the wind. He understood now. She had not been waiting out of promise alone. She had been hiding in plain sight for years. "I'm not leaving you here," Evan said firmly. Lyra stared at him with wide, trembling eyes. "No one ever said that before," she whispered. "No one ever stayed." And as the shadows moved once more, Evan realized the truth. He had walked into a story that was much bigger and far more dangerous than he ever imagined. Evan did not sleep that night. He and Lyra sat under a small broken roof near the old bridge, the only shelter they could find. The fire he made was weak, but it kept a small circle of warmth around them. Lyra sat close to the edge of the light, as if she was afraid the shadows would reach for her if she moved even a little further. Every time a branch snapped in the forest, she flinched. Every time the wind howled through the trees. She whispered her parents' names under her breath. Evan watched her carefully. She was too quiet, too still, like someone who had learned long ago that making noise could mean danger. He had protected children before in other towns, but none like her. Lyra was not only afraid, she was trapped in her own promise, chained to a place where danger was waiting every single night. When the first ray of sunlight touched the stone, Bridge Lyra stood up instantly, brushing dust off her clothes. "I need to wait there," she said softly. Evan looked at her tired face. "Lyra, you didn't sleep at all." "I can't sleep," she whispered. "Not if they're coming for me." "But you're not alone now," Evan said. Her fingers tightened around the bridgestone. "People leave," she whispered. "They always leave." Evan felt a sharp pain in his chest. She was not talking about villagers. She was talking about her parents. He stood beside her. "I'm not leaving you. Not today. Not tomorrow." She looked at him as if he had spoken something impossible. Hope flickered in her eyes, but she quickly looked away, afraid to believe it. Hours passed. Travelers walked by, giving curious glances, but no one stopped. Evan and Lyra stayed together as the sun climbed higher. She kept watching the sky as if the next moment might bring her parents home. Evan tried to find a way to change her mind. "Lyra, what if we search for your parents instead of waiting?" She stiffened. "No, but if they're alive, wouldn't they look for you?" "They told me to wait," she repeated. "If I leave, I break my promise." Evan sighed. He understood promises, how they could hold a heart like chains. But he also understood danger. He looked at the forest behind them. Something felt wrong. Too quiet, too still. He stepped a few feet away to check the area, and that was when he saw footprints on the ground. Deep, heavy, not human. The prints circled the road, then stopped near the trees. Something had been watching them. He walked back fast, heart pounding. "Lyra, we can't stay here tonight." Her eyes widened with fear. "They will come at night," she whispered. "They always come at night. Then we need a safe place." "This is the only place they won't find my scent," she said. "If I leave, they can track me again. Evan froze. Those creatures were not hunting the area randomly, they were hunting her. He knelt in front of her. Lyra, if your parents told you to wait here, they did it to protect you, not to trap you. She shook her head weakly, but they said they would come back. And maybe they tried, Evan said gently. Maybe they never made it. Lyra covered her ears. No, no. He carefully lowered her hands. Lyra, look at me. She lifted her eyes slowly, trembling. You can wait your whole life, but if danger comes closer, you will never see them again. You need to stay alive. Her breath hitched. He could see her struggling between fear and hope. Before she could answer, a deep growl came from the forest. Evan's body reacted instantly. He grabbed Lyra and pulled her behind him. A dark shape moved through the trees, faster this time. Closer, the air grew heavy. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Lyra grabbed his cloak tightly. It's them, she whispered. They found me. The creature stepped out, towering over them. Its body was long and twisted, with glowing eyes that burned like red coals. It opened its mouth, revealing rows of sharp teeth. Evan drew his blade. His heart pounded hard, but he stepped forward. No, Lyra cried. You will die. Not today, he whispered. The creature lunged. Evan dodged, swinging his blade, cutting across its shoulder. The beast roared and slammed its claws against the ground, throwing dust into the air. Lyra screamed as it charged again. Evan blocked the blow, but was thrown backward, landing hard on the stones. The beast turned toward Lyra. Evan's voice ripped through the air. Hey, over here! He charged again, slashing its leg. The creature stumbled. Evan grabbed a broken branch from the ground and drove it into the beast's side. With a final roar, the creature staggered back and disappeared into the forest. Silence fell. Lyra ran to him, shaking. You stayed, she whispered. He nodded, breathing heavily. I told you. I'm not leaving. She stared at him like she was seeing the world for the first time. No one ever fought for me, she said. Not since that day. Evan placed a hand gently on her shoulder. Then I will be the first. For the first time, Lyra did not look at the sky. She looked at him, and in that moment, something inside her, something frozen for years, finally began to melt. Evan woke at dawn with pain in his shoulder, but Lyra woke with something different, fear, mixed with a strange new hope. She sat close to him, knees hugged tightly, watching the forest with wide eyes. The memory of last night's attack was still fresh. The creature's roar still echoed in her mind. But for the first time in years, she hadn't faced the danger alone. Evan stood and studied the ground around the bridge. The creature's blood, dark and sticky, marked a trail leading back into the forest. He frowned. If one creature found them, more would follow. He knew it. Lyra's voice broke the silence. Will they come again? Evan turned to her. Yes, and next time, there may be more. Her small hands tightened around the stone railing. Then I must stay here. If I move, they will smell my scent again. Evan shook his head. Lyra, they already know you're here. That made her freeze. He needed answers, real answers. So he walked toward a large piece of stone under the bridge, something half hidden by weeds and old vines. He had seen it the night before, but did not look closely because of the attack. Now he knelt beside it and brushed away the dirt. Strange symbols covered the surface. Not human words. Not common alien language either. They glowed faintly under the sunlight. Evan called softly, Lyra, come look at this. She approached slowly, eyes growing wide. Her trembling fingers touched one of the glowing marks. I know this symbol, she whispered. Evan looked at her. What does it mean? It is my family mark, she said. My clan used it. My father wore it, and my mother too. Evan felt a shock move through him. Your parents carved this here. She nodded slowly. This place was safe once. My clan used it as a hiding place during the war. My parents must have left a message. She pressed her hand against the stone again. Suddenly, a soft hum filled the air. The symbols brightened, and the stone shifted, revealing a hollow space inside. Evan stepped back, stunned. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. They left something. For me, she reached inside and pulled out a small metal shard. It looked like a piece of armor, broken, scratched, but still powerful. The same glowing symbol from the stone was engraved on it. That's your family crest, Evan said quietly. Lyra held the shard against her chest. This belonged to my father. I know it. Evan crouched beside her. Lyra, your parents didn't abandon you. They hid you. They left clues. They wanted you to survive. A deep sadness rose in her face. But why didn't they come back for me? Evan hesitated. The truth was painful. Maybe they tried. Maybe something stopped them. Lyra closed her eyes. Before he could comfort her, a sudden gust of wind blew through the trees. The ground trembled lightly, as if something far away had just moved. Lyra's eyes snapped open. They are waking, she whispered. The hunters. Evan stood, gripping his blade. We need more information. This stone, this message. Maybe it tells us what happened. Lyra wiped her tears. There is more. My mother once told me that our people hide secrets in places of light and stone. If the symbols glow, it means there is still power left. Evan examined the stone again. More symbols appeared when he touched it. These ones formed a spiral, pointing toward the deeper part of the forest. What does this direction mean? He asked. Lyra swallowed. Leads to the place of the fallen. Where warriors went when the enemy first came, Evan understood instantly. Your parents were warriors. She nodded slowly. Guardians. Protectors of our clan, Evan stared at her in disbelief. She had been living like an abandoned child, but she was actually the daughter of elite protectors. That meant the enemy hunting her was not random. It was personal. Evan's voice lowered. Lyra, your bloodline is important. They want you for a reason. Her eyes widened. Me. But I'm nobody. No, he said firmly. You are the daughter of guardians, and the enemy fears your family for a reason. Lyra's breath trembled as she held the shard tighter. If they know I am alive, they will come harder, Evan finished. That's why we need to move. Her entire body froze. No, she whispered. If I leave, my parents, Evan touched her shoulder gently. Lyra, listen to me. Your parents carved this message. They left this armor piece. They expected you to find it someday. But they never said you must stay here forever. Lyra stared at the glowing stone. The symbols pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. For the first time, doubt entered her mind. For the first time, she wondered if waiting was not safety, but danger. Evan. She whispered, if I leave, will you stay with me? He nodded without hesitation until the end. Before she could speak again, the forest behind them roared louder and closer than last night. The hunters had returned, and this time they were not hiding. The forest roared like a wounded beast. Evan turned sharply, blade already in his hand. Lyra froze, gripping the broken armor piece tightly against her chest. The sound grew louder, branches snapping, heavy footsteps shaking the ground. Whatever was coming, it was bigger than the creature they faced before. Much bigger. Stay behind me, Evan whispered. Lyra's breath came fast. They followed my scent. I should have stayed still. I should have stopped, Evan interrupted firmly. You did nothing wrong. This is not your fault. Before she could answer, a huge shadow stepped out of the trees. It was a creature twice the size of the first one, its body armored with thick dark plates, eyes glowing a brighter, angrier red. Another shape appeared beside it. Then another. 3 hunters, and all of them were looking straight at Lyra. Evan tightened his grip. Run behind the stones. Stay low. Lyra shook her head wildly. No. If I move, they will. They already found you, Evan said. Move. Her legs trembled, but she obeyed, running toward the old bridge and ducking behind the large stone slab. The hunters growled, sensing movement, and 2 of them charged forward. Evan stepped in their path. The first hunter swung a massive claw. Evan dodged and countered with a deep slash across its arm. The creature roared, stumbling, but the second hunter lunged from the side. Evan barely blocked. Sliding across the ground from the impact, he rolled and got back on his feet. But the third hunter was not fighting him. It walked straight toward Lyra. Evan felt fear tear through his chest. Lyra, run. Lyra tried, but the hunter reached the bridge too fast. It raised its claws to strike. Just then, the glowing symbols on the stone bridge pulsed bright and sharp, like a burst of light. The hunter recoiled, roaring in pain as if the symbols burned its skin. Lyra gasped. The old protection, it still works. Evan used the moment. He charged behind the first hunter and drove his blade deep between the plates of its armor. The creature roared, falling to the ground. The second hunter lunged again, but Evan blocked with both hands, sliding back several feet. Stay under the bridge, he yelled to Lyra. The symbols protect you, but they won't protect you, she cried. He didn't answer. He couldn't. He was too busy staying alive. The second hunter circled him, looking for an opening. The third one roared again, trying to push past the glowing symbols to reach Lyra, but every time it got close, the runes glowed brighter, forcing it back. Lyra's eyes filled with tears as she watched Evan stumble under the force of the second hunter's attack. He was strong, but he was still human, and the hunters were built for war. She pressed her hands against the stone. Mother, Father, please help him. Suddenly, her necklace began to glow, same color as the symbols on the stone bridge. The light spread across the carvings like fire, strengthening the protective shield. The third hunter screamed and backed away. But Evan was still in danger. The second hunter pinned him to the ground, claws slamming around him. Evan struggled, blade trapped under its weight. Lyra couldn't watch anymore. She stood up. No, Evan shouted. Stay there. But she stepped out of the protective symbols, tears streaming down her face. I won't let you fight alone, she whispered. The third hunter turned toward her instantly. The ground shook as it charged. Evan's heart almost stopped. Lyra. But something unexpected happened. The broken armor shard in Lyra's hands suddenly flared with a bright, blazing light. A shockwave burst from it, slamming into the approaching hunter and throwing it backward into the trees. Evan's eyes widened. What was that? Lyra stared at the glowing shard in shock. It's my father's armor. It protected me. The second hunter turned toward the light, confused for a moment. Evan seized the chance. With a fierce push, he freed his blade and slashed upward across the creature's throat. It collapsed beside him. Only one hunter remained, the largest one. It stood slowly, shaking dust from its body. Its red eyes focused on Lyra. It ignored the human completely. It knew who the real target was. Evan ran toward Lyra, grabbing her hand. We need to move. Now. But the bridge, it won't hold forever, he said. Your father's armor showed us something. Your parents left more than a promise. They left protection. Lyra looked at him, eyes full of fear and courage. Where do we go? Evan turned to the direction the symbols pointed earlier, the deep part of the forest. "We follow the clues," he said. "Your parents left answers. If we don't find them now, we won't survive." Behind them, the final hunter roared, shaking the trees. Lyra gripped Evan's hand tightly, for the first time. She stepped away from the place she had been waiting for years. Together, they ran into the unknown toward danger, toward answers, and toward a truth that would change everything. Evan and Lyra ran deeper into the forest, their steps fast and uneven. The trees grew taller, thicker, and darker the farther they went. Lyra's breathing was shaky, but she didn't stop. She didn't even look back. For the first time in years, she was moving, leaving the bridge, leaving the waiting, leaving the fear that kept her frozen. Evan held her hand tightly, guiding her through the twisting paths. He kept glancing behind them, expecting the last hunter to appear at any moment. The creature was huge, strong, and furious. It would not give up, not when Lyra was still alive. The forest felt alive, too. The wind whispered through the leaves like distant voices. The ground hummed beneath their feet in soft waves, as if something old was waking up. After several minutes, they reached a clearing. At the center stood an ancient stone arch covered in moss and glowing symbols similar to the ones on the bridge. Lyra gasped. I know this place." Evan looked at her. "What is it?" "This is the place of the fallen," she whispered, "where our guardians fought the enemy the first time they came." Evan carefully approached the arch. The symbols glowed brighter as he moved closer, reacting to him, not Lyra. "That's strange," he muttered. "It's responding to me." Lyra stepped forward too. At her presence, the arch glowed even brighter, lighting up the whole clearing dot. Suddenly, a deep vibration shook the ground. The arch cracked open in the middle, revealing a hidden chamber underground. A soft blue light glowed from below. Evan and Lyra exchanged a glance. "Should we go?" she asked, voice trembling. Evan nodded. "Your parents left this for a reason." They climbed down carefully. The chamber below was small, circular, and covered with ancient carvings of Lyra's people, tall, elegant figures wearing the same armor piece Lyra carried. In the center of the chamber lay a crystal sphere resting on a pedestal. As soon as Lyra stepped closer, the sphere began to glow. A soft hum filled the room, and then a voice emerged. A woman's voice. Lyra froze. Her eyes widened, tears forming instantly. "Mother?" she whispered. A hologram formed above the sphere, a glowing image of two tall aliens, Lyra's parents. The mother had the same silver hair as Lyra, and the father wore armor with the same family symbol. The father's voice echoed gently. "If you are hearing this, then we could not return." Lyra covered her mouth, shaking. Evan stepped closer, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. The mother continued. "Our enemies wanted our bloodline. They wanted the power inside it. We hid you at the bridge because the old runes there blocked their scent tracking. We planned to come back for you. But the battle changed, and we could not escape." Lyra sobbed quietly. The father's image stepped forward. "If you survive long enough to reach this chamber, you are not alone. Someone has helped you." His eyes bright and turned directly toward Evan, even though it was only a recording. "Human traveler, we entrust our daughter to you." Evan stiffened, shocked. The mother added gently, "Her power is awakening. She carries inside her a gift of our people, one that can bring peace to many worlds or destroy them if used by the wrong hands." Lyra's breathing quickened. "A gift, but I'm just me. I'm not special." Her mother smiled sadly. "You are everything special, my child, everything we fought for." Then the hologram flickered. The father's voice grew serious. "If the hunters still pursue her, it means they know she lives. Do not let them capture her. Take her far from this place. Help her grow strong and one day she will change the galaxy. The hologram faded slowly, like dust falling through light. Lyra collapsed to her knees, crying into her hands. Evan kneeled beside her and wrapped an arm around her gently. "It's okay," he whispered. "They loved you. They left this to protect you." Lyra shook with emotion. "They told me to wait, but they never could come back." "They tried," Evan said softly. "Sometimes love isn't about returning. It's about protecting you even from afar." Lyra leaned against him, her small hands gripping his cloak as if holding on to the only anchor left in her world. Then the ground trembled. A roar echoed from above. The last hunter had found them. Evan stood quickly, pulling Lyra to her feet. "We need to move now." The creature crashed into the clearing above, shaking loose dirt and stones. Its massive claws began tearing open the entrance, forcing its huge head inside the chamber. Lyra screamed. Evan grabbed her hand. "Your parents left one more message, Lyra." She looked at him through tears. "What message?" "That you're not alone anymore." The chamber walls glowed brighter, reacting to Lyra's awakened power. Symbols lit up like stars around her. The hunter roared. Furious, Lyra wiped her tears, and for the first time, she stood tall. "I'm not afraid anymore," she whispered. The light around her intensified, powerful, ancient, and alive. Evan stepped beside her, ready to face the creature together. The final battle had begun. The last hunter crashed into the chamber with a roar so loud it echoed through the stone walls. Dust fell from the ceiling, and cracks spread across the ancient carvings. Its glowing red eyes locked on Lyra, the same eyes that had haunted her life for years. But this time, Lyra did not step back. She did not tremble. She stood straight. The broken armor shard glowing fiercely in her hands. Evan moved in front of her, blade raised. "Stay behind me." Lyra shook her head. "No, not anymore." The hunter growled, confused by her sudden courage. It raised its massive claw and charged. Evan rushed forward, slashing hard, but the creature was too strong. The blow knocked him across the chamber, sending him crashing into a wall. He gasped in pain. "Evan!" Lyra cried. She tried to reach him, but the creature blocked her path. Evan struggled to stand. "Lyra, listen. Your parents? They trusted you with power. Use it." Lyra looked down at her trembling palms. The armor shard pulsed with warmth, like a heartbeat. She remembered her mother's voice. "You carry a gift of our people." The hunter lunged at her. Lyra lifted the shard. A wave of blue light burst from it, slamming into the creature like a storm. The hunter roared, stumbling back, claws scraping the ground. But the blast wasn't enough to stop it completely. It got back up, shaking off the light. Evan shouted, "Focus, Lyra. You can control it." "But I don't know how." She cried. "Yes, you do," Evan said, stepping forward again despite his pain. "You survived alone for years. You lived in fear and never broke. That strength is already inside you." Lyra swallowed hard. Her heart felt heavy, but also warm in a way it had never felt before. She thought about her parents, about the years waiting alone, about the pain of hoping every day. And she thought about Evan, the human who stayed, who fought for her, who believed in her even when she didn't believe in herself. Slowly, she lifted the shard again. "Please, help me protect him," she whispered. The stone carvings on the chamber walls began glowing, answering her call. Light flowed through the symbols, forming a bright pattern around Lyra's feet. The air shimmered. The chamber hummed like a living heart. The hunter roared and charged again. This time, Lyra didn't run. She stepped forward and raised both hands. The shard exploded with light brighter, stronger, rising like a burning star. A shield of energy formed around her, then expanded outward. The hunter slammed into the shield, but the force threw it back violently. It hit the wall, cracking the stone. Evan watched in awe. Lyra. Lyra stepped closer to the creature, tears running down her face, but her voice steady. You took everything from me. You hunted me. You've scared me for years. The hunter crawled weakly, its strength fading. But I am not alone anymore, she finished. With a final burst of light, the shield blasted outward, filling the chamber. The hunter let out a last roar, then turned into dust. Dissolving in the glowing air, silence fell. The chamber grew dim again, and Lyra stumbled. Evan rushed to catch her. You did it, he whispered. Lyra pressed her forehead against his chest and cried softly, not from fear, but from release. From letting go of the years she had carried alone, Evan held her. Knowing this moment changed everything. After several minutes, Lyra looked up at him with trembling eyes. What? What do I do now? I have no home, no family. Evan brushed her hair gently. You have me. Lyra's lips parted in surprise. Then, can I stay with you? Always, he said. Outside the chamber, the forest wind calmed. Birds began to sing again. Light filtered through the trees, like gentle fingers. Lyra stood at the entrance of the clearing and looked back toward the direction of the old stone bridge. The place she had waited for so many years, it no longer felt like home. It no longer felt like a promise. It felt like a prison she had finally escaped. She took a deep breath. I'm ready to leave, she whispered. Evan nodded and held out his hand. Lyra slipped her small hand into his, and together they walked away from waiting, away from fear, and toward a future that belonged only to them. The girl who waited alone for years finally stopped waiting, because the human who found her never let her face the world alone again.